Hello and welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your wickedly deviant co-hostess, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome back once again, Josh. How are you doing this week?
I feel great, but that's probably because I've had like 25 glasses of iced coffee this morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very sleepy. I'm very groggy. I've been up since 7 a.m. Doing a lot of things. I am off from work. I am in a little siesta vacation time between jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I have a new gig lined up. But before that happens, I am taking some much needed downtime to overhaul my apartment, deep clean stuff, have the handyman over all the time, and go like hang out and watch a lot of movies. So, I should be a lot more rested than I am. But I don't take resting I don't take resting lightly. I'm very serious about my resting. My resting needs to be productive.
I'm the same way as you. I don't like to, if I go on a vacation, I need there to be museums and restaurants and shopping. I can't sit on a beach for 8 hours. I don't have that in me.
When my mother was visiting Los Angeles last, I had like all these things planned out for her. So we'd be doing these things and going to these things and visiting this stuff. And then I would also build in downtime for us to like get back to my apartment and like rest, recuperate, see what's going on, and then like go again. And every single time we'd get back from something, and my partner and I would be like exhausted, and we'd be like, maybe we go sit down, take a nap or something. We've been at a museum all day. We've been at the La Brea Tar Pits all day or whatever. And then we've got dinner plans on the other side of town in 2 hours. Let's like recoup or something. And my mom would be like, okay, great. And she'd go downstairs and like clean the kitchen. And you'd be like, no, stop it.
Well, that's me to a T because once again, your mother and I are simpatico because I love to clean. I clean to relax. Like if I'm upset or anxious or even just bored, I grab a scrub brush and start cleaning. That's how I am.
I need to get more into that headspace. But that's basically how I've been spending this whole vacation, is just cleaning up my apartment, getting stuff nice, because I know as soon as I start working again, I'm gonna just be like vegetative and not being able to.
Especially those first 2 weeks at a new job are so stressful because you're like really guarded. You're like kind of on high alert, trying to impress people, trying to make the right impression. So yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but it's gonna be nice. I've got people coming in to reglaze my bathtub soon. It's gonna be great. Fancy bubble bath time.
Yeah,
I see a lush trip in my future.
Get some bath bombs, baby.
But so one of the other joys of having a bunch of time off from work means I get to watch a fuck ton of movies. So as I've mentioned on the show before, my partner and I, whenever we have a large break of time open, typically a Saturday, because we have such a large VHS collection and we have bought so many on our previous trip to Indiana and South Carolina, we held another of our lovely VH Saturdays recently, in which we watched nothing but tapes all day. And we just have like a spread of food. It is very like if Caligula had a VCR. It's great. It's very, very fun. And we watched a handful of Aardman short films from the 80s, pre Wallace and Gromit. I got to show her Gus Van Sant To Die For the first time.
I love that movie.
I love that movie. We are in the middle of a Matt Dillon renaissance between Asteroid City and High Desert. So it was such a joy to step back to that movie.
Have you watched Little Darlings?
I haven't watched Little Darlings.
It's his first movie, and I think actually maybe second after Over the Edge, which is also incredible and should be on your Matt Dillon list.
Oh, I designed the art for
I know,
Over the
but
Edge.
if you haven't rewatched it, it's worth it. Little Darlings is Matt Dillon when he's like a teenager, and it's just probably the best movie about teen sex that I've ever seen. Little Cynthia Nixon is in it at age 10.
Oh my god,
It's
Tatum
really
O'Neal.
Tatum O'Neal, and especially Christy McNichol. So the premise is it's a summer camp movie, and Tatum O'Neal is a rich girl and Christy McNichol's a poor girl. They hate each other, and they're in the same bunk at summer camp. And there's a bet to see which of them can lose their virginity first.
Classic.
And it's like a comedy, but it's also really sweet. And they're only like 13 years old. So it's like a movie that wouldn't be made today. But they learn so much about love and sex, and it's really touching, and the performances are exceptional.
Okay, that's phenomenal. I need to see that.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the art. Yeah, I truly will do anything for Matt Dillon. I don't know where he's been for the past handful of years, other than doing Lars Von Trier movies, which I skip because, good God.
Who has the time?
Who has the time? We also watched a movie that will be slightly pertinent to what we're talking about in a little bit. From 1994, and starring Christy Swanson and Charlie Sheen, The Chase. Which is a real dirtbag, trashy favorite of mine.
I've never seen it. I don't really remember it very well.
It was directed by Adam Rifkin. Post The Dark Backward, pre-Detroit Rock City.
Okay.
And it is basically a car chase for an hour and a half.
Okay.
It is...
That could be good or bad.
I think it's fun. It is like all the music is like early 90s punk. So it's like Rancid and Bad Religion and The Offspring. It's just like wall to wall on the soundtrack. Charlie Sheen plays a like wrongfully accused man who's escaped jail and inadvertently kidnaps Christy Swanson with a Butterfinger at a gas station, and then like takes her as a hostage on the road while being chased by police. But, like, she's the daughter of a big West Coast billionaire played by Ray Wise, who's, like, wants his daughter back. And then we also get, like, insane cameos by fucking Carrie Elways as, like, a TV reporter commenting on what's going on, because it's like pre-OJ, but very like what OJ would end up being, but like as a comedy. Henry Rollins is the film's antagonist as a police officer who's like in the middle of filming an episode of Cops when he like starts to have to follow Charlie Sheen. Anthony Kiedis and Flea play two hillbillies in a monster truck who might be fucking, who decide that they're gonna take this into their own hands. It is wild and stupid, and Christy Swanson is not a talent, to put it lightly. But it's very, very fun, and if you want dumb 90s action, it's a blast. But then we ended the evening with a very rare VHS tape that we found in Indiana for a movie that has quite a bit of a horror cult following and has... I mean, it's now restored and is like up on Shudder and stuff. But we watched Spookies.
Oh my god.
We'd never seen Spookies. I'd only like tangentially heard of it. As being a kind of like what's it like independent monster oddity from the 80s.
That movie is so wild. I saw that as a little kid on VHS, and I remember being like, 9 maybe. And you know how when you're a little kid you don't know if things are good or bad, really? 'Cause you have that part of your brain. Even at like 8 or 9 years old, my friend Jeff and I were like, what is this movie? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then when Joel and I first started dating in 2020, I made him watch it then. And he's like, I don't know if I can sit through more of this. But I was loving it.
We put it on because we were like, let's do a monster movie. We just got this. This looks like it's going to be a fun creature fest. And, like, it's going to be schlocky, but it can be super fun. It is 3 different movies stitched together.
It is fun, though, I think.
It is a fun watch, but basically by the end of it, after, like, the weird, creepy pedophile man who just gets murdered instantly, after the farting muck monsters,
there's a Spider Woman.
The Spider Woman's terrifying, actually.
Yeah.
The, like, comic relief puppet man with his face on his own t-shirt. And then the bride who's been held captive for 80 years, who knows how to drive a Cadillac.
Yeah.
After all of that, Ivory and I were just like, well, nope. We already took the tape down to Be Kind Video in Burbank and traded it in.
You did?
Yeah.
But it's it's a rare tape, isn't it?
That's why it's a rare tape, and so we like swapped it for a couple other rare tapes instead. We're like, let's trade this one bad rare tape.
Yeah.
So we got like Motel Hell and a couple like rare vampire movies and stuff.
I saw a really hot man wearing a Motel Hell t-shirt in Santa Barbara a couple weeks ago.
You're taken. Sucks to suck.
That's all. That sounds cool. I mean, I think Spookies is probably a more fun movie to watch with like a group of people who are drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than just you and your partner with a glass of white wine like it's a real movie. Because it's not a real movie.
No, it's not. I mean, granted, like, this was more like Ivory and I smoking a joint and like trying to find like trashy stuff to watch. But even then we were like, good God.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, thankfully, yes, it's a rare tape, but the movie itself is now well proliferated. Vinegar Syndrome did a great restoration. It's on Shudder. So Joe Bob Briggs hosts it now.
Yep.
So if
that's where it belongs.
That's exactly where it belongs.
Yeah.
So if for any reason we feel the need to stick muckmen and their farts on our friends for a late night spook 'em up, we can always put on Spookies.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting on my beret and my turtleneck and getting really highbrow because I went to the theater.
The theatre?
Yeah, live theater that I want to talk about because...
Theater with an E at the end.
It's a horror play that is in Los Angeles right now at Geffen Playhouse. And full disclosure, it's in the family because the playwright, Ramiz Monsef, I went to art school with him. And the lead, Megan Hill, is one of my best friends in the whole world. But it's very, very good. It's called The Ants. It's at Geffen Playhouse, and it's going to be there for like another month as of the airing of this episode. And Megan plays a woman who is like the CEO of this tech company, and she's built this like fortress of a house, basically, like the future of safe houses, basically. And so it's got like a kind of Alexa that plays like HAL from 2001, essentially. And the house can actually like kill people and stuff. And it just so happens that all of the homeless people in this city kind of rise up. And so it plays like sort of a Night of the Living Dead, where these people want to get inside the house and take it over. And she's like using the house to, you know, get at them. So it's sort of like a dystopian vision of rich people. And Megan's character is awful. She's not the hero of it. She's just like the most hideous woman you've ever seen in your life. But it's so cool. The design is really cool. There's these really cool projections that make it feel like credits on a movie. So it feels
fun.
like watching a horror movie. The costumes are incredible. It's just so much fun. So if you're in LA or nearby, you have like 3 more weeks to see The Ants at Geffen Playhouse. And I just really loved it. And I mean, I was a theater major. I was in New York as a playwright for 15 years. I can count the number of times I saw a horror play on one hand. And it's one of the reasons that I stopped writing plays, because there's just no room for genre in the American theater. So it's really rare to get one. And so when I see a good one, it makes me really happy because it's just like so uncommon.
Are you counting your own play on that hand?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. And I barely wrote horror plays because no one would produce them. So if I did, I would have to make it like campy or something, so it could be like a late night kind of thing. It's very very rare to get like a really earnest, scary horror play. And so I can't recommend it enough. And then the other thing I watched was a double feature of 80s werewolf movies, which are not really my thing. I mean, I do like them, but it's not something that I like long for, except that I did this time. So I rewatched The Howling, which is great.
A bop.
I mean, a total bop. You get Sunset Boulevard in the early 80s, looking at sleaziest. You get Dee Wallace.
David Carradine.
Yeah. The most of the movie takes place at a colony in Big Sur, which I think must be based on Esalen, which is my favorite place in LA, which I spent a shit ton of money to go to in 2020 when I was recovering from a breakup, which is like, if you've watched Mad Men, it's where Don goes in the finale, where he's like meditating on the cliffside. So yeah, the movie's great. The transformations are great. The setting is great. But then I watched Silver Bullet, which I watched a lot as a kid and haven't watched in a long time.
I've still never seen it.
It's pretty good. It's like a 3-star movie. It's worth watching. It's
this
fun.
one with Gary Busey, right?
Yes, which, by the way, how is Gary Busey a movie star? How did that happen? It's like the most bewildering thing. And he's good in the movie and charming in the movie, but it's like, where did this person come from?
Have you seen the Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey?
No, I never did.
That was like his launching pad, really.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's like 79 or something like that. And you're like, whoa, Gary Busey's an actor. He's really good in it. And then everything else in his career, you're like, who the fuck let Randy Quaid's friend in front of the camera?
He's good. I mean, he is good in Silver Bullet. It's just like a weird thing that I thought of is like, how did this person become famous? He's so strange and off-putting.
He's very bizarre.
But Silver Bullet stars Corey Haim as a little kid, and it's a period piece, and it plays like Stranger Things, you know, like kids on bikes. Like the kids know who the werewolf is, and no one believes them, kind of thing. And there is an insane moment that is so wild. I don't know how this is like in a finished screenplay that got filmed, where Corey Haim is like, wait a minute, I know what to do. I have a plan. Cut to Corey Haim making a letter out of magazine letters that says, I know what you are. You should kill yourself. And then he puts the letter in an envelope, goes to a mailbox. We watch the letter get mailed to the werewolf, who then opens it and like scowls and is angry and even more determined. But it's like, how does this make sense? Like, did he really think that the werewolf would get so upset and so sad that they would kill themselves? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel like something that belongs in a finished film, because it just doesn't.
But it does feel like child logic in that way.
You're right.
I'm like, hey, maybe if we let them know that we know, the problem will go away. But it also feels like Stephen King doing a couple rails of coke too many.
I know, yeah. It totally has that feeling. I'm going to bleep this out, but someone in the room was like, Josh, this is like you sending a letter to... And I was like, it really is.
We should do that.
I'll bleep that name out, but it just made me howl, because it's such a wild choice. I know what you are. You should kill yourself. Like, that is gonna like convince a werewolf to take their own life. It's so stupid and delicious. I loved it. Yeah, so those are my 2 werewolf films.
Well, let me go take a shower, get cleaned up, maybe get some nice food, maybe go to Sizzler, and then it's caveman time.
Yeah. So this is a movie that I picked. I saw it for the first time in 2020 or 2021 when I was kind of doing a project, a personal project on this director. By project, I just meant I watched all of her movies.
That's a project.
Yeah.
Doing a thing is a project.
In millennial parlance, I did a thing.
Yeah.
This is a movie by director Penelope Spheris from 1985. It is called The Boys Next Door.
Nearly all these murderers are white males, many of them handsome, charismatic, intelligent.
This is the story of a couple of all-American kids, Roy Alston and Bo Richards. They're young, They're clean cut. And like most kids, they want to do something spectacular.
So what do you want us to do, huh, Roy? Become computer programmers, maybe fly the space shuttle?
He seemed like a regular kind of guy. Normal, kind of quiet. He just didn't seem like the kind of guy that would kill anyone.
But Roy and Bo are different.
Sorry.
They're trapped.
Walk in there Monday. Run the drill press the rest of our lives.
And they don't fit in.
Look who's here.
What happens when there's no way out?
We should have killed him.
Almost did.
Almost doesn't count.
These people confuse sex and aggression. They can't differentiate between the two.
At 11:30 p.m. in Los Angeles, Roy...
So, as I've said many times on this podcast, I'm a great lover of juvenile delinquent films from the 70s and 80s specifically, of which this, I think, counts. But I discovered this many years before I actually watched it because I was trying to find... I had a craving for a movie that was like Bonnie and Clyde or Natural Born Killers, but was about gay boys. Such a movie does not really exist, except for some reason the movie Frisk, which is exactly that, basically, wasn't on any of the lists. So I didn't see that till many years later. But this movie came up as something that was like that. This movie is not like that. This movie is, in fact, incredibly homophobic. But that's how I learned about this movie. This was your first time watching this. What were your, general impressions? Because I thought Drew could go either way on this movie.
Yeah, I feel like in the entire, run up to us doing this movie and me watching it, Josh kept being like, I'm so sorry. I don't think you're going to like this one. I don't think this one's for you. I just really want to do it. I'm like, oh. And I was like, no, it's going to be fine. I have never been let down by Penelope Spheris.
Yeah,
ever,
she's great.
Or Maxwell Caulfield. So let's be honest in that regard. But also, I also love a teenage delinquent movie. Yeah. And I love an 80s punk film. And this is also that, in a way.
In a way.
But the thing that I didn't anticipate from this movie is that it opens immediately with a montage of, courtroom photos of famous serial killers.
Yeah.
Listing off on screen text their body counts, and then playing, I guess, dramatized readings of, some of their final words and stuff like that.
Yeah, or things people said about them.
Things people said about them and things that they said near the end. It's very weird.
Yeah. I'm on the fence about that. I think the rest of the movie is, sort of more sophisticated than that.
Oh, significantly. That feels like...
I somewhat think that the movie would be stronger artistically without that opening montage.
I think the movie artistically is incredible. I think...
Oh, good. I'm glad
Penelope Spheris is at the top of her game, especially, as an independent, low-budget filmmaker in 1985. She's doing some awesome fucking shit.
I think this is her best movie that is not a documentary.
You might be right. However, I would also like to remind you that Wayne's World does exist.
I love Wayne's World. Yes. We'll get into Penelope Spheris' career, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
Soon.
Listen, it blows Little Rascals out of the water, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting way of setting this movie up. Both because it has a bit of a, cut. It starts with that kind of, cut from the headlines. This is a social problem picture, young boys becoming serial killers. But also, it's a different story than those kinds of... Because it shows, Edward Kemper and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What we eventually see in the events of the film is that Bo and Roy... working as a team are more spree product killers than a lot of the killers shown are actual serial killers.
It makes sense that the movie showed up on that list for me, right? Because what I was looking for was lovers on the run, killer couple kind of movies. And it does play more like that, although they're just quote unquote friends, but we'll get into that later. So it's not a serial killer. It's not as much Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer as it is Natural Born Killers, Honeymoon Killers.
Yeah. It's closer to something like Thelma and Louise a little bit, if it was like about two men who are in the NRA.
Yeah, this is like somewhere between Thelma and Louise and Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer in terms of unpleasantness and structure.
Yeah. It's more like all those like dirtbag guys who were in 4-H and like, you know, talked about I'm gonna do something someday. If those guys decided to go Butch Cassidy on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring up that intro, though, because Penelope Spheris kind of comes out of the Roger Corman exploitation space, because her previous movie, Suburbia, which is probably like the quintessential punk film of the 80s, includes a number of things that she was forced to include because it was a Roger Corman exploitation. Like, she had to include these things to make the movie. So she had to show boobs a couple of times. She had to have more violence. And so there are things that feel like they don't fit into the movie Suburbia because they were forced. And that's kind of how this intro of Boys Next Door feels to me. I actually really like it. For another movie, I think it would be really cool. But for this movie, it feels a little bit unsophisticated compared to the rest of the movie.
There's a lot of producers on this movie, but the movie, when that opening credit serial killer montage is happening, like, at the front, it doesn't say Penelope Spheris' name until, like, the end of that credit line. We don't get hers until the very end, until the start of the movie. But we get a few names above title, and it's producer Sandy Howard. Mm-hmm. So it just feels like that's a Sandy Howard choice. Keep in mind, Sandy Howard is also the producer of Avenging Angel.
Oh boy. Wow.
So that tracks a little bit. Anyway, let's do
synopsis?
a kind of a beat by beat a little bit.
Okay. So we have two teenage boys, Roy and Bo, and when the movie opens, it's the day of their high school graduation, and so it's a Friday, and on Monday, they are going to start work in the factory in their town where both of their dads work. These are like very working classes, generous teenage boys, somewhere in California. They go to a high school party where there's a really fun bit of 80s stunt casting that we'll get into. They kind of alienate everyone at the party, and then Bo, played by Charlie Sheen, gets $200 from his family for graduation as a gift. And so they decide to go on a little vacation for the weekend. So they drive to LA. And on the way to Los Angeles, Roy, played by Maxwell Caulfield of Grease 2, confides that he has like a kind of bubbling rage inside of him. So basically what ensues is they go on a spree in Los Angeles where, full warning, there are multiple hate crimes committed. Very unpleasant. So basically the rest of the movie plays like, a kind of natural born killers in Los Angeles in the early 80s. And it all leads to a big showdown, sort of Bonnie and Clyde style, or like the way that these movies end, this movie ends as well.
But it does it in the most 1980s teen movie way.
At the
mall. Which, by the way, this was shot at like the Westwood Mall, I'm assuming.
It doesn't exist anymore. It was then called Fox Hills, which is actually where they filmed Valley Girl as well.
I was gonna say, like, was that mall ever even open? Because it was constantly being closed to be filmed in like Chopping Mall. And
it is now
Valley
the
Girl
Westfield.
and like
it still exists, but you're right. It is now the Westfield, and I want to say Culver City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just. It's in a million fucking movies.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I just, like, cannot imagine being a teenager in the 80s and being like, let's go to the mall. Oh, it's closed because they're making a movie.
Yeah. I feel like that mall and the Sherman Oaks Galleria are, like, the most iconic malls, probably.
They're the movie malls.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mall of America.
Yeah,
you
fuck
didn't
you.
have killer robots.
I mean, the malls in these movies were like quintessential to me, like wanting to live in Southern California. You know, everything from Valley Girl to Clueless to Chopping
Getting
Mall.
shot in front of a See's Candies.
Yeah, exactly. What's more Southern California than being shot to death at See's Candies?
But you're right. This movie does feature a number of hate crimes.
Yeah.
At a certain point in the movie, we also like jump back and forth to the police investigators kind of following along the spree killing.
Which is a bit of a Grease 2 reunion.
Uh-huh. We get Christopher McDonald from Grease 2, but most notably from Happy Gilmore and SLC Punk.
Yeah.
And for being pulled over like a year or two ago at a traffic stop and drunkenly berating a cop saying, "Don't you know who I am?" Which is
That's funny because he's like not that famous. And
he always plays villains.
Yeah, I love when celebrities do that. Like when Reese Witherspoon got pulled over for drunk driving. I loved that video because she kept saying, "This is beyond. This is just beyond." It's like, Reese, you're driving drunk.
Yeah. This
So my
is what
partner and I say
normal
that
white
all the
women
time.
go through.
Exactly. This is beyond. When you
is
know that
beyond.
you've done something terrible and can't believe it.
Russ Meyer pitching a movie. This is beyond.
Penelope Spheris is a really interesting director. Of course, there weren't a lot of women working in film in the 80s. I feel like
There actually was more women working behind the camera in the 1980s than there were at any other point before that. And then even more so than the 80s was the high point of female directors until the 2000s. Until it
interesting.
dipped off in the 90s and 2000s until like recently.
That's
so
so
many
interesting.
great female directors had a like great run in the 80s. Think Amy Heckerling, Susan Seidelman, oh my god, the director of Hester Street and Chilly Seasons of Winter, Joan McLean Silver. There was just like this run because there was a quota in Hollywood to hire more female directors. There was a mandate. I don't know what studio or why, but that's how you got a lot of like young female directors getting accepted into AFI.
That's so interesting because the 90s were so much more progressive politically in general than the 80s were.
I don't know what it was, but you can see interviews with people like Susan Seidelman who like, you know, makes smithereens for no money in New York City, gets it into Cannes, which is a huge fucking coup.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's directing a Madonna movie and making Mr. Right with John Malkovich. Like, both for big studios. And then as soon as the 90s hit... Oh, also, speaking of Stephen King movies, the Pet Sematary movies.
Oh, yeah. Those are great. The first one was great.
They're both directed by the same woman who directed a bunch of music videos at the time.
Yeah.
There's great interviews with all of those women that are like, yeah, as soon as the like video store boys started directing in the 90s, all the like Quentin Tarantino's and Paul Thomas Anderson's and Hughes brothers and all that stuff, as soon as they all came in and it became a dude's club again, and then they didn't want to be promoting people up into making studio films, they wanted people working at New Line and Fine Line and Miramax, and like it. A lot of those women are like, yeah, we couldn't get anything made in the 90s, and in the 2000s we were directing episodes of The L Word.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
fucking depressing.
Yeah. So Penelope Spheris has had a really interesting career. She kind of has 3 careers. And my favorite of her careers, which is like sort of the narrative punk film director, is the least known of those 3 careers. So
what you're saying is you're a really big fan of Dudes with John Cryer.
I am. I like that movie.
It's great!
Yeah,
but
that's a great
I'm just
movie.
saying, it's
Yeah.
under-discussed.
So people know her either, like hipsters may know her from her trio of documentaries, rock documentaries called The History of Western Civilization, which are all 3 really
The
great.
Decline
and
of Western
interesting.
Civilization.
Thank you. Decline of Western Civilization, which are all 3 really great in their own way. The first movie is 1981, and it's about the LA punk scene and is really cool. The second movie is the late 80s, and it's about the LA sort of hair hard rock scene. And it's really interesting to watch that change because the punk scene of the 80s is so progressive and cool. And then the hard rock scene of the late 80s is so male dominated and sexist and regressive. And so that change is really interesting. And then the third movie is about gutter punks in the early 90s in LA and their scene. So it's like just a very interesting.
It's almost more about teenage homelessness at that point. And it's like really fucking powerful.
It's really good and really powerful. And Penelope Spheris met her partner on that movie, who was like a very young, and they're still married to this day. I can't remember which kid it is because I haven't seen that movie in a really long time. But so she's got this documentary career. She's got her punk films, which include Suburbia and Boys Next Door. And then she became one of the biggest studio comedy directors that there was in the 90s. She directed Wayne's World. She directed Little Rascals. She directed, is it Happy Gilmore? Is that the one that she did? I don't know. Like movies like that.
She did the Beverly Hillbillies. She did Black Sheep with Chris Farley and David Spade.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, I know she did one of those like sort of SNL tangential movies, if not.
Yep. And then she also teamed up with David Spade again and the Wayans brothers for Senseless.
Right.
Like, she was like the 90s comedy director. Like, big budget, broad, take your mom and the kids to go see.
Yeah. So she's had a really interesting career. I love Suburbia. That was a movie that I watched a lot in high school. I was a punk, and so it was a movie that kids watched a lot. It was actually pretty rare, so like you had to have like a bootleg VHS to watch it. Now you can watch it on Tubi if you're interested. And there was like a restoration of some sort. But I hadn't seen this, and I think this is better than Suburbia as a film.
I agree, yeah.
I did listen to a podcast with her interviewed where she said that this is the only movie that she regrets making because she felt like it contributed to a culture of violence, is her quote. I find that a frustrating dismissal of this movie, which is bewilderingly from the filmmaker of it. I think this is an indictment of violence, not a celebration.
This movie is very strongly against that, but I would also counter Penelope Spheris with, I don't think enough people have seen this movie.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because this movie did not get a super wide release. It was retitled in foreign markets.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to find for years and years and years. It had like one VHS release that wasn't like super common. Maxwell Caulfield, despite being on a good soap at the time, and being off of Grease 2, was not really moving tapes off of shelves or putting butts in seats.
Well, he said, so he plays the real psycho of the two, Roy. Yeah. Because everything that Bogue does kind of like falls in line with what Roy tells him for most of the movie. That's just the dynamic of this friendship. So Maxwell Caulfield said that he channeled all of his rage from the experience of Grease 2 into this role because in truth, the experience of being in Grease 2 was incredibly painful. So he, of course, thought that he was starring in a major Hollywood movie. The movie really bombed. Everybody laughed at it. And then he didn't really work. This was the first film he did 3 years after Grease 2. So he couldn't get any work except for a soap opera in that time. And so it was the experience of Grease 2, a movie that both of us love, by the way.
Yeah.
Was very actually hurtful and painful for Maxwell Caulfield. And he said that he channeled that into this character, Roy, which is interesting. I think he's quite good in this movie. I
think he's great in this movie, especially when he takes his shirt off.
He's so hot. Like, nobody's ever been hotter than young Maxwell Caulfield.
Literally, so watching this movie, there's scenes of like the two of them driving around and they're like, primer gray Plymouth muscle car that's all souped up, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And they're just looking like the most obnoxious, like, white guys in the world. And I would run from their image in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Maxwell Caulfield takes his shirt off in a gay man's apartment, I was like, oh yeah, I'm bisexual. I forgot about that. It's like, damn, okay.
This is one of the things that I love most about this movie is how 80s LA it is. Like,
yes.
So I mentioned 80s stunt casting. So one of the girls from their high school, they go to her party in the beginning of the movie. That is Moon Unit Zappa, who, along with her father, Frank Zappa, wrote and created the song Valley Girl, which basically, canonized the idea of, she created Valley Girls. Like, this one girl who's in this movie, like, created the idea and the concept and the voice and the look of Valley Girls, which is huge. Like, could not get more 80s than that. So they leave their hometown, which is actually just the Valley, I assume. And they go to LA. We get Venice Beach. We get the liberated tar pits. We get West Hollywood and the gay scene. We get Hollywood Boulevard. And by the way, that's a trope that I miss so much from 80s movies, is someone driving down Hollywood Boulevard and just like shouting at street people and you know what I mean? Like, that scene is in so many 80s movies, and I miss that. So in a weird way, this is like kind of a celebration of 80s Los Angeles, even though they're like doing hate crimes and stuff.
The most fun scene in the whole movie for me is when they're driving down Hollywood Boulevard. Because the music is fucking awesome and it's so beautiful, and Hollywood Boulevard doesn't even remotely look like that really anymore. And it's grim, but it's so fucking fun, and it just feels like LA Los Angeles in the 1980s in the best possible way. I was just so excited. And it's such a beautiful time capsule because they inadvertently get a beautiful little piece of history captured in this, because they pass a marquee that's all done up for Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, a movie that was in theaters for all of like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I love seeing movie marquees inside of movies and like noticing what they are. Like, I love in Times Square when they pass a marquee for House of Psychotic Women. Yeah.
I am currently working on a project of a film from the 70s set in New York, and there's a whole like sequence that's just like a lot of marquees in the 70s. I took screenshots of like all of those, and I'm like, I'm using this. I've got to use that somewhere. These are so awesome. These are so beautiful.
Yeah.
Listen, these two guys fucking suck. I don't want ever to meet them or see them. They are absolutely the worst kinds of like woe is me white men. Mm-hmm. The beginning of this movie is so fucking great because it starts with the last class they're in, and their teacher's like calling out everyone in the class and being like, you're going off to college, and you're gonna major in this, and you're going to computer school. And then he points to the one gay kid, and he's like, tap dance, or like
he
dance
says
history.
Modern dance.
Modern dance. But they all have like futures, and they all have all these stuff, like goals and plans, and then these are just two white men who are being run out of existence by the minorities and the fags and the women, and we're gonna have to work in the factories like our daddies did. And it's like, okay, first of all, your problem isn't minorities, homosexuals, and women. It's capitalism.
It's capitalism, yeah.
Second of all, y'all got out and went to Los Angeles and are hitting it off, but you're so socially inept that you are constantly choosing violence. There is a scene when they're on Venice Beach and Roy does something kind of fucked up and inflicts like assaults someone, and then they're being chased out by a group of women who are like coming to the aid of this person that they hurt and are trying to like stop them. And they're just like, oh, look at these dykes who fucking... And I'm like, every single person in this movie is awesome and great. And Penelope Spheres does such a great job of showing, like, everyone else in this movie is great and, like, supporting and showing how, like, wonderful and kind the queer characters are.
Yeah.
All the women are super great and supportive. All the characters that are horribly assaulted that are minorities and... different racial backgrounds are like great and have like full lives, outside of all this stuff, and it's just these fucking white dudes and these idiot cops that are pieces of shit.
Yeah, that's nice that the cops don't get let off the hook either. Like there's a great scene where there's all this good stuff where they go to a gay bar in West Hollywood and they end up going home with the gay man and kind of seducing him, but then killing him in a really horrific scene. But I mean, I had never seen gay people on television or in movies at all as a little kid in the 80s. So if I had seen this, it would have been something, to be honest, just because I had never seen gay people in a movie before. And the movie also strongly suggests that Roy is closeted and that he's in love with Beau. So that's in the mix as well.
When they're at the gay bar, there's a great little bit, because they don't know it's a gay bar. They're just 18 and trying to get drunk.
Yeah.
And they get brought in by a guy who's out front, who's like in the middle of a fight with his boyfriend. And you get the classic, like, oh, realizing it's a gay bar sequence of like cuts, but it's done in a great way because it starts with Charlie Sheen. It starts cutting to his POV of like looking at the women in the room because that's where his attention is drawn to. And he starts to notice that there's very few, and they are either like lesbians or like friends of these gay men. And then it cuts to Roy's POV, and he's just looking at the men.
Yeah.
And then he's looking at Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
But also, we get like queer couples kissing in the background who are just there and having fun. And we get like, these are like, a guy like comes up and tries to like touch Maxwell Caulfield just to like sit at the bar with them, and he freaks out and gets super violent, and then everyone else in the bar like is very protective and defensive. Like,
yeah,
it's a great depiction of queer life in the 1980s.
Yeah, it's not filmed for shock or to be exploitative. It's filmed with love, I would say. I mean, your sympathy is with the gay men, not with our duo. So unlike there's like a very bad version of this in movies like Police Academy, where they go to a bar and it's shot for laughs and it's meant to shock you that there are gay people existing. And this is not that. This is the opposite of that. I do think that there's something to this movie. Your sympathies do not lie with these boys, because your sympathies lie with everyone else, basically, which is good. But I do think there's a warning, or I'm not sure what the right word is in the movie, that says like, this is what we do to boys. Like, we made them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's something that it's hard to talk about, because you can't talk about it without feeling like a conservative, which I'm not. I'm a lifelong leftist and progressive. However, the way that we talk about masculinity on the left is not great. And to me, it's not shocking that like cis het, especially white men, get pulled to people like Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate or other bad, horrible people, because there's this idea of toxic masculinity, which is real, and this movie explores. But masculinity isn't inherently toxic. Do you know what I mean? Like, men are 50% of the population, roughly. And so we have to figure out a way to model good boys and men. And we, on the progressive left, are very bad about that. Like, there's like no space for cis het men on the left, basically. Or at least that's the message that they get. So I think that there's a warning in this movie that's like, we're making this. We're creating this. You know what I mean?
I do appreciate about this movie is that this movie does present positive cis heterosexual men.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, he's the only good cop. Yeah.
Because he, like, all the other cops are like, oh my god, in the scene where the cops find the dead body of the gay man that has been murdered.
That cop is the absolute worst.
There's a cop who's like saying fag this and fag that and fudge packers, like every kind of slur he can fit. And then he's like, oh yeah, his boyfriend's right here.
Yeah, awful.
It's one of the most devastating cuts you've ever seen. And then another one, there's like a very, like, trivial, almost, scene in the police station at one point in the movie where a cop comes back with tacos for the other cops, and he's talking about all the punks on Hollywood Boulevard, and these 13-year-old girls are just fucking whores, and it's like horrifying. But then after a white couple is murdered in a car, Christopher McDonald is like on the verge of tears next to it, being like, we don't know anything. We have nothing. We have no information. We have no way of stopping these men. We just have to wait for them to kill again. And he's like at a loss with himself, feeling just trapped and ineffectual. And like, rather than, you know, the like Dirty Harry Clint Eastwood school of policing with something that happens, of like throwing the filing cabinet across the room and screaming, God damn it, and slapping his badge down on the desk and be like, I'm gonna go vigilante and I'm just gonna go fucking kill some people, Charles Bronson. He's just like letting his emotions out and is very frustrated. And then the other detective, who's older and works with him and is also a little gentle, is like, hey, let's go tell the chief that this is very important and we'll get it bumped up the priority list. Let's get some extra resources.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
I think probably for me, the most upsetting sequence of the movie is after that, when the boys go to a bar and they meet kind of an older barfly lady.
Oh, God.
It's a bit of an aging hippie type. She's not aging, and that makes it sound like she's 50. She's like maybe in her early 30s. So older than them, but kind of a barfly. She's at a bar drinking by herself, and she takes them home, and she's got a house full of like crystals and tarot cards, which Roy is making fun of. And then Beau ends up having sex with her. Roy goes into the other room, and Roy's getting angrier and angrier and angrier because, of course, he's in love with his friend Beau and is closeted, and he ends up murdering the woman. And it's a really upsetting sequence. The way it's filmed is like
mid-coitus, like. And she's played by Warhol superstar Patty Durbinville, who had been in a handful of Andy Warhol films and had been in films like Bilitis and a lot of like lesbian softcore films. And then she like turned around in the 80s and 90s doing like big budget comedies and like dramas and stuff like that. She's incredible. Yeah. And she's fucking phenomenal in this movie.
That scene before the sex and the murder is so good. They're listening to this song called Face to Face by Code Blue, which is like a great lost new wave song. It's not even on Spotify. I just checked, but it's a song I knew because I had all of these new wave hits of the 80s CDs when I was a teenager, and it was on one of those. So it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful scene for something that just feels really sad for some reason, even though
it's very sad.
There's no
because
reason
you know what's going to
I guess
happen.
That's the thing, right? Like,
yeah.
But the character just seems sad. I guess because she's like a pretty woman who's aging, who's drinking by herself at a bar and like lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Hollywood,
picking up two
crystals,
random 18-year-old boys.
Exactly.
One of the most like sad and frustrating parts of that scene to me is in the middle of Roy like shit talking her crystals and tarot cards and stuff. She just turns to him and says, "You have really like bad energy. You're like really like mean and like." You're not going to get far in life being like that. And I'm like, honey, he's a fucking mass murderer.
Yeah.
He's a serial killer. He doesn't just have bad energy.
Yeah, bad energy is the least of his problems. Like, that's a massive understatement.
I don't think you're an empath, honey. I'm so sorry.
Like, it doesn't take Kreskin to understand that this guy has bad vibes.
One of the funniest moments in that scene, though, is when Roy's like going through the tarot cards and he picks up the crystal ball and he's like, "What's this?" And she's like, "It's a crystal ball. It's like the tarot cards, but you just like, you have to be more sensitive to get it." And she turns to Charlie Sheen and she's like, "You know what I mean, right? About being more sensitive." And he just goes, "What?" Charlie Sheen plays so stupid in this movie. He's just this lost little puppy dog following him around the whole film, and he just watches these horrible things happen, occasionally joins in, and when they cross the line for him, he's still like following along and being like, "You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Let's go get some beers." Like,
he's weak.
As if they didn't just murder 3 people.
Yeah. He's a weak person.
A beta cuck, you might say.
Yeah, you might say. So basically they get chased to the mall, and Maxwell Caulfield wants to keep going. Roy, I should say. And Bo says wisely, for the first time, we should turn ourselves in. And Roy basically forces Bo to shoot him and kill him. So Bo ends up killing him and then getting arrested. And that's the end of the movie. Anything else? I mean, any other thoughts about that ending or the movie?
I mean, my thought about that ending is that, like, I listen to a handful of, like, true crime podcasts. I listen to, like, Last Podcast on the Left and stuff like that occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, while watching this movie, I was trying to imagine if this was a real life case and, like, a podcast like that was covering, like, the real life murders of Roy and Bo. The nightmare struck on Hollywood Boulevard one fateful evening in 1985. If Bo was the only one alive at the end of all of this, at the end of this spree killing, every, like, podcaster who'd skimmed a Wikipedia article would be like, Bo was the mastermind behind all of this.
Right.
And it's like, no. He let people call him Bob in high school for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happened with Columbine, right? Like, the common understanding of those killers, that they were bullied, that they were somehow marginalized. None of that's true. They were well liked. They were, like, it's just our understanding of those killers is not really accurate, it turns out.
Yeah. And, like, that's the thing about this, is that these people fucking lie, A, and B, a lot of them aren't alive for us to fully understand in the way that this movie presents it. I think the script of this movie is fucking great. The two writers of this movie, James Wong and Glenn Morgan, were both, like, barely still teenagers when they wrote this script. And then, of course, would go on to be some of the main producers and writers on The X-Files, just a handful of years later. And you can see a lot of that same well-researched true crime DNA. And also, like, exploration of disaffected teenage youth, and the way that manifests in, like, really fucked up ways. In that, like, just a handful of years later. It's really interesting to see at the end of this movie, because this is 1985. This is right after Red Dawn and Repo Man for the Estevez clan.
And the Breakfast Club, importantly.
And, well, I guess. I guess if you think the movie's important. And, of course, in the middle of Penelope Spheres' punk movement before she would break out really big in the late 80s into the 90s, that, like, everyone from this movie was on and off to bigger and better things, except for Maxwell Caulfield.
Yeah. I didn't see him again until the 90s when he was in Empire Records, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he did things, but, like, that was when I saw him again as a person alive at that time. That was when I saw him again. It was like, oh, there's that guy from Grease too.
Yeah, I think Empire Records and Waxwork 2, Lost in Time.
Oh boy, I have seen that movie, unfortunately.
were the big next few steps for him, but it's a shame. He's very talented. I think The Boys Next Door is his best performance.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say it's his best film. Grease 2's a bop.
I mean, here's the truth. If I hadn't seen this movie, I never would have thought that he was a good actor, because he's not good at Grease 2, because it's not a good movie. I mean, I love that movie, but I love it because it's bad.
The other thing that's incredible is his American accent in The Boys Next Door. He's English.
Yeah, he's great.
All more making his performance in this truly incredible. My only note for this whole movie is that they should have had a smaller budget for wardrobe so that Maxwell Caulfield wore less shirts.
Fewer shirts.
Fewer shirts. That's my only note, Penelope. Maybe work on the opening credits. It's a little funky.
Yeah, cut the credits. Just kind of. The way that it opens after that, where so Maxwell Caulfield is outside of the high school and he's laying on the sidewalk while Bo draws a chalk circle around him because they want to make people at school think that someone died there the night before. And then the movie ends with a chalk circle going around his actual dead body. That's such a more sophisticated framing device for the movie. And I wish that was just that. That's my criticism of the movie. My other criticism of the movie, to be honest, I don't really love the soundtrack except for that Code Blue song. And there's a Cramp song early on, which is cool. But I
love the soundtrack.
Do you?
I love it. I was actually going to ask you, in the scene at the gay man's apartment, I want to know what that song is because I fucking loved it.
Oh, I don't know. I only know the song at the woman's apartment.
It takes such a journey because it starts as like a slow ballad that he puts on to kind of seduce the guy. And then the song turns into this like punk song.
I don't know off the top of my head.
And it like, I am such a big fan of punk music and such a big fan of like 80s punk and new wave. And it's so rare to see that kind of music in films scoring.
Drusilla, so am I. I'm a huge fan of punk, but most of the music in this movie isn't punk. Most of the music is metal, which I don't like.
I love the metal in this movie.
Yeah.
But, like, it's the metal for, like, Driving Down Hollywood Boulevard is banging and great and very of the moment and awesome. Okay. But the punk song in that Assault is really powerful and really fucking awesome. And, like, that's such a Penelope Spheris move to do. I was trying to look up the name of it. The lyrics are something along the lines of, like, if you love me, then you'll leave, or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's great. And I think more movies should use punk music on their soundtracks to score big, important moments. The only other person I can think of that does it outside of, like, we're making a punk movie, so it has to have punk music, is Martin Scorsese. Like,
yeah.
I mean, putting The Clash and fucking Casino and...
I'm looking at the soundtrack for Boys Next Door. That song, whatever it was, is probably by Code Blue, that band that I mentioned, because half the songs are Code Blue.
Yeah.
Which is a weirdly forgotten band, even though they were great. Really great new wave band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's The Boys Next Door. I'm glad that you loved it. I didn't know if you would. I hoped you would, but who knows?
I really, really enjoyed it, and I really hope more people can check it out. I was lucky enough to rent a DVD of it from our new local video store on the east side of Los Angeles,
Vidiots. Haven't been yet, but I'm so excited. We should pivot and play our favorite game, Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. Has Michelle Pfeiffer, star of Grease 2, seen this movie?
You know what? By 1985, Michelle Pfeiffer was off to bigger and better things. I really, really hope that she caught it on, like, HBO in the 80s and was like, Max! And then was like, oh, God, Max, what are you doing? Max, no! Put the gun down! But, I don't know. I don't think Michelle Pfeiffer would enjoy this watch. I think she would probably see it and be like, it's well made, it's important, but not for me. I mean, she famously turned down Silence of the Lambs. She didn't want to be in a horror film.
Ugh, that's lame.
I know.
Do you think if Maxwell Caulfield, like, let's say he calls Michelle Pfeiffer in, like, 1987, do you think she picks up? Or do you think she lets him go to her, like, answering machine?
I think she picks up. She seems, from everything that I've heard, she's very nice.
Okay.
And I think, like, you know, trauma bonding.
Yeah.
They went through something.
Yeah.
Okay. So, of course, Emilio Estevez, also Charlie Sheen's brother, starred in a pretty great LA punk film about driving around Los Angeles just the year before in Repo Man. Do you think that Emilio Estevez ever saw The Boys Next Door? Do you think he supports his brother enough?
I hope so. I mean, I don't know anything about their relationship as brothers. I would hope. I mean,
they did Men at Work together, so
yeah, I would hope so. I think so.
I did read that Martin Sheen, their father, who started in Badlands,
which is like the template for this kind of movie.
Both advised Charlie Sheen to not do it, A, and B, walked out of the screening at the premiere.
Why?
Midway through, because he didn't like the murder or something like that.
He's the star of Badlands. Like, that's so hypocritical. Do you know what? I saw Emilio Estevez at that fancy market in Malibu once.
Did you go, Emilio?
No. Well, this is so mean. I mistook him for an old woman because he was wearing like all linen, head to toe linen, and he's, you know, an older man now, and he wore like a big straw hat. And so I was behind him in the line. I just thought he was like an older woman because he was wearing linen and had like a big sun hat on. Like he was going to go garden for the afternoon.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was.
Good for him. So 80s punk movies, one of my favorites that just popped into my head is a movie that I know that you love too, and it's Reform Schoolgirls.
Yeah.
Do you think female punk icon of the 80s, Wendy O. Williams, saw Boys Next Door?
Fuck yeah. I love Wendy O. Williams,
of course.
first and foremost, because I'm a human being and I have a pulse. But I also feel like Wendy O. Williams is one of the few people who saw this movie and was like telling her friends to be like, you need to fucking see this movie. It's fun. It's important. These fucking dudes fucking suck. You need to go see it. The soundtrack rips. I feel like she would love this movie. Totally. And if she hadn't seen it, like, come on.
Yeah, I think It's My Life by Wendy O. Williams would have been great in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, any song by Wendy O. Williams would be great in any movie.
Truly.
Rescore Citizen Kane with only Wendy O. Williams tracks. Before Charlie Sheen was cast, he wasn't the first choice. Obviously, they interviewed other people. They screen tested an actor against Maxwell Caulfield, who had a very turbulent career in the 80s. Crispin Glover auditioned for the role of Beau, but Penelope Spheris said that his performance was, quote, too psychotic.
I believe that. I mean...
You know what? I believe that.
I like Crispin Glover a lot of the time, but I think he needs a strong director.
Yeah.
Because I have to say, I know that a lot of people love
someone
this
like
movie.
Mick G.
Yeah. I know a lot of people love this movie. I don't, and the reason I don't love it is Crispin Glover's performance is The River's Edge, because it's like a director really needs to rein him back. Otherwise, he's going to do too much, you know? So I'm glad it's not Crispin Glover.
I think he's great doing too much if you...
Depends on what the movie is. Yeah.
In Wild at Heart, he's got like one scene, but he brings it the fucking all.
Yeah. You know what he's great in is Friday the 13th Part 4.
His dance really good is memorable.
Yeah.
He would have been better as Roy rather than Beau.
I think so too.
I think that's the problem. Do you think
and I think he's not tough enough seeming to be Roy though, ultimately.
Oh, that's the problem. He doesn't fit into either of them. But a movie about him playing a serial killer, I would watch.
Great, yeah.
A documentary, maybe? Do you think Crispin Glover ever, like, spitefully watched The Boys Next Door?
No. I don't think Crispin Glover... He doesn't seem like a spiteful person to me generally, so I don't know if he would spite watch something.
I mean, he sued Universal over reusing footage of him in Back to the Future, too.
Oh.
And that's how he is, like, independently wealthy now.
He should be. You can't just use someone's likeness without...
And he's entirely correct.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. But I don't think he's seen half the movies that he's in. You know what I mean? Like, he's a weird guy. I don't know.
I doubt he's seen Charlie's Angels. You're right.
Yeah. I don't know if he knows where he is right now. I met him once at Mohawk Bend in Echo Park, and he asked me where the restrooms were. Nice. And I said upstairs, and so now we're married. No. I don't know. He just seems like a super spaced out person. So I don't think he sees some of the movies that he's in. So I don't think he would have seen this.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
his loss.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodhouse. If you liked it, please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Drusilla, shout out your socials if you want to.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Hyde Sister. And, Threads and Blue Sky are fucking stupid, and I'm never going to be on them, so don't even try. You can also find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. I just won 2 Golden Trailer Awards.
Huzzah!
Woo! And I was just interviewed by Forbes Online about my cover for After Hours with the Criterion Collection. So if you care about Forbes and money and also Martin Scorsese movies and the Criterion Collection, maybe that's a thing to check out and read.
That's
It was fun. Thank you. What about you, Josh? Where do you reside when you are on the virtual reality space that is Lawnmower Man's internet?
Twitter, Instagram, letterboxed rather. Blue Sky for now, not Threads, probably never Threads. At Joshua Conkle. My short film he watches will be at Outfest here in LA on July 20th at 9:45 p.m. in a block of queer horror shorts. So anyone listening to this will probably like it. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Oh, never mind. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we are continuing with great female artists. Though it's a male director, it is the story of the creation of one of the great female writers in all of horror history. We are looking into the night that Mary Shelley devised to wreck Frankenstein. From the genius, fucked up mastermind himself, Ken Russell, we will be watching 1986's Gothic.
Love it. Can't wait. See you there.